All right, Chapter 3, Planning for the Joint Bulk Petroleum Operations. Lieutenant General Richard Zillmer, the United States Marine Corps Commanding General, Multinational Force West of the Iraq, June 2006. Urgent operational needs statement that by reducing the need for the petroleum-based fuels, we can decrease the frequency of logistic convoys on the road, thereby reducing the danger to our Marines and soldiers and sailors. Um, Interdiction Joint Petroleum Office conducts the overall planning of the petroleum logistics support with the air combat command with the planning curve with the strategic operational level usually embodied with Appendix 1 with the petroleum oil lubricants supply with the Annex D logistics for the operational plans and command operational plan with the appendix for the theater wide with the requirements of resupply with the redistribution of the formula refueling of fuels plan landing prescribed with the Chairman Joint Chief of Staff Manual 3130 the 03 adaptive planning execution planning performance of guidance the Defense Logistics Energy Regional Office to serve the component of the support Joint Petroleum Office for the developing practical sustainment of the petroleum support with the concept and plan. For more information, see the Appendix A with the plan guide with the Appendix 1 with the Appendix D with the Appendix Petroleum Bulk Petroleum support with the military plans. 2. Joint bulk petroleum operational planning, utilizing the joint operation planning process for the logistics responsible for supporting bulk petroleum with the joint logistic environmental with the assembly with the array with the tool with the assist with the support planning with the projection distribution, same in the joint force logistics support agency provide the assessment of the logistic capability require areas required with the execute with the combat commander's plan. The logistics support agency for the critical assessment of the tool with the sheet with the measure of the tool unconcentrated logistic requirement agency against available logistic enabler for the execution of the CON ops. The logistics support agency find that highlights the logistic deficiency their associated risk support with their operation additional tools integrated consumable items support and system operational logistic plan with the other planning documents global petroleum distribution plan joint petroleum bulk petroleum plan development is developed with the meticulous attention for the ability of the global parent to provide bulk petroleum, the asset for the theater, for the scope of the planning of the widespread involved with the ability of the contracting partners of the host nation, complement global partner for the strategic capability of the chief of the figure 3-1 of the planning with the development the most integrate with the availability of the secure line communications. The intensity of the current and future operation of the organizational structure of the Joint Force Command. Where the delivery of the crisis action planning with the joint bulk petroleum planner should be capability to call upon the vast information resource available across all operational level collection data that dissipates information is essential for the garner actuate assumption substantial aided facts for planning process. Required actions when planning bulk petroleum operation project accurate timely fuel requirements maximize the use of the country civilian host nation fuel facilities tailor fuel equipment and support package for the requirements standardization ensure capability of fuel equipment to support joint multinational fuel operations shall the theater of the joint petroleum office for the sub area of the petroleum office for the assistance over the defense logistic agency and GRG regional office and serve the components. Fundamental tenet for the successful planning with the bulk petroleum support early with the accurate identification requirements in hand with the joint bulk petroleum complete with the understanding with the commander's intent with the with CON ops for the critical with the knowledge of the hand with the directly with the bulk petroleum resource with the support with the joint force greater flexibility with the integrated with the logistics of the development of the commander's operation with the commander's intent with the more effective the operational execution. One critical aspect of the joint petroleum is the planning with the infrastructure where the operation will be conducted with the some theaters for the host nation assets available, such as pipeline storage facility with the railways that will help with the support of the bulk petroleum distribution and situation airbase with the tactical airfield with the other side with the support of the pipelines whenever the tactical feasibility and other with the host nation commercial with the bulk petroleum facility may not be available. The tactical asset will need to be used with the tactical bulk petroleum supply system may include with the liquid tanker mooring system floating house line underwater pipeline with inland tanker farms, temporary overland hose lines, and pipeline collapsible tanks and tanker trucks. With the planning of the process for the inventory of the management plan, that is an important document validated with the issue with the Department of Defense Logistics Agency Energy concern over the combat commander and serve the inventory management plan to develop the petroleum inventory level need with the support of the operational server the requirements of the pre-position war reserve of the requirements and over the specification amount of the product location hold the requirements of the two categories inventory guide sizing with the stock level to permit Immediate immediate and short-term operations for the purpose of the sustainment of the operation until the resupply can occur with the purpose of the source of allocating limitation. One combat commander may cover requirement of another combat commander's operational plan with concerns concurrency with the combat commander's joint petroleum office. Although not desirable, the practice is allowed with the product delivered within the required joint operational plan with a timely offer with a non-commercial resupply with it to be made with the stock location, the extent of the practical will consist of the applicable rigid stock associated with the stocks are positioned near the point of the intended use. When the possible shock or the display of the held in the conventional hardening facility, the high threat area with the defensive logistics agency with a plan with the war's reserve storage coordinated with the combat commander of the joint staff. Joint Petroleum Office that may consist of the host nation support programs to ensure adequate support or supply of the petroleum product initial phase of contingency combat commanders serve the development requirements properly size the pre-position war reserve requirements. The pre-position war reserve requirements are based on the needs of support specific joint operation of the location of the line of communication are established. Biannually, joint staff with coordinated with the Defense Logistics Agency develop the guidelines approved by the Office of Secretary of Defense of the day supply with the appropriate assumption for the security of the supply of the resupply. The pre-position war reserves for a campaign plan operational land with the pre-position war reserve of the combat commander's war reserve of the fuel required with the support of the campaign operation outline with the combat commander's campaign outline operational plan with operation order requirement to determine applying with the operational tempo of the fuel consumption rate of the deployed with the weapon system of the campaign with operation. Your global petroleum distribution plan should be considered whenever the determined storage located for the joint staff of the J4 of the logistics director and publishing of the plan with established recommendation of the petroleum support. The ICIS is available to assist with the joint logistic plan with the ICIS of the proposed pre-position war reserve requirement by either the combat commander time phase of development data applying with the certificate consumption in order to produce the time phase of requirements. Each of the certificates should be validated with the ICIS. Consumption factor periodically recommended annually to ensure the platform consumption factor is included with the annual pre-position war time reserve requirements computation. ICIS output coupled with the joint flow analysis system of the transportation unit developed the sea lift tanker delivery slate with the form of the non-unit of the time phase force deployment data records of the ICIS force deployment module allow the directly entry of the force into the module crisis action exercise plan with the time phase force deployment data is not available. A pre-war reserve stock on the hand with the product designated as a pre-war reserve requirement. Consider the stock with the support with the deployment of the combat operation. See if they meet with the requirements of resupply with the effective with the secure source assumption with the pre-war reserve stock. DOS factor for the development of the chairman and joint chief of the staff of the forward with the office of secretary of the Department of Defense for approval establishment of the pre-war reserve stock is based on the most dependent and demanding operational plan requirement for each location in addition with the operational service for each location. Combat commanders joint petroleum office to release the relocate the part of the pre-position war reserve stock in emergency situation. Type of the pre-position war reserve stock. Starter stock of the war reserve material located near the theater of the operation support with the conduct of military operation for the unit resupply wartime rates can be established for the unit until the contingency end with which occurs even sooner. Office Secretary of Defense of the Department of DOS guidance is utilized with the components of the pre-position war reserve stock for geographical location. Swinging stock of the position afloat with the offshore with the capable of supporting requirements of more with the contingency more than one theater of operations. Swinging stock guidelines position with the recommended the global petroleum distribution plan with the through calibration over the between JSJ4 Joint Petroleum Office with the heck of the combat commanders Joint Petroleum Office. The GCC recommendation from responsible to secure the component with the prescribed location level of protection, secure the pre-position war reserve stock. The OS of the amount of the product required with a sustained piece of time operation and the support of the military demands. Fuel operational service levels of the computed annually with the Defense Logistics Agency with the Defense Fuel Support Points utilized with the factors depicted in Figure 3.2. Joint petroleum and bulk inventory of the bulk petroleum, inventory of the petroleum pre-position war reserve stock, and operating standards. Both inventory size of the base for the concept of having enough fuel on hand with the unit resupply can be assured. Pre-position war reserve stock shall be determined with the operating standard designated with the start with the swing stock or both. The IAW Department of Defense Instruction 3110-06 War Reserve Material Policy. This approach optimizes stock levels to maintain acceptable degree of the support with the sustainability across the range of military operations. Inventory levels are independently determined at each location where practical are defined. Are factors computing operational stock demand, daily demand rate of the past projected year as you use to calculate daily demand rate, economic resupply quantity with the fuel quantity, defense fuel supply plan can receive the ideally balanced economic operational requirements. Your safety level, the safety level is the amount of fuel for the compensate with the variability of the resupply time and the demanding during the resupply cycle, and to enable inventory of the fuel needed to prime the storage dispensing system, such as pipeline fill, manifold to fill, and tank bottom bellow selection line. Alright, emergency allocation petroleum. With the various levels of responsibility governing the allocation of the fuel during the national emergency, the responsibility over the dependent with the of the worldwide, the commercial environment, the base for the combat commanders, guiding with the joint petroleum, all of the direct for the allocation of the petroleum prior with the allocation included with the pre-post wartime reserve stock, meet the peacetime operation actions to take over the concern of the defensive logistics agency of the energy, defensive logistics agency, defensive logistics agency with the responsibility of the providing with the combat commander where needed information for the overall fuel situation after the underway overcome the deficiency. If the strength of the combat commanders satisfied allocation product with the defensive logistics agency during constrained fuel for the availability of them require the activation of the joint material priorities allocation board, the joint material priorities allocation board, which acts for chairman joint chief of staff and all petroleum allocation matters will be established during the extreme situations of the worldwide fuel shortage and result of this has also been supply failure, unacceptable degradation, wartime sustainability, the specific information for the combat commander provide with the joint material priorities allocation board, include the current with inventory, the resupply of the forecast and impact of the both peacetime wartime operation. The prudent use of the war game when the exercise of the eve of the simulation when the or other means could be important to do and they identify with the gap to clarify the rules of the capability responsibility of the whole petroleum operational plan for the becoming problematic execution model, new concept of the useful way of the develop the solution with the actual hostilities. However, the plan must cognizant depending on the heavily assumption of the would lead to flawed conclusions. Overall theater petroleum support with the inland petroleum distribution plan within developed with the joint petroleum and sub-area petroleum officers provide the single source document with the understanding with the guidance provide with the commanding plan and operation plan with the will be executed that provide with the detail with the necessary stuff for the command with the understanding how the interface with the agency firms provide petroleum support. Just as the joint petroleum office is responsible for theater petroleum planning with the sub-area petroleum office is responsible for the bulk petroleum planning execution matter with the operational higher level. The planning focuses support with the rates for the service of the components, provides an individual inland petroleum distribution plan with the base support plan with the inland petroleum distribution plan complement the intra-theater with the inter-theater planning effort of the joint petroleum office to form the tactical base for the petroleum portion of the operational and control plans. The individual inland petroleum distribution plan is published either the tab of the Appendix 1, Petroleum Oil Lubrication Supply, to Annex D, Logistics of the operational plan with a standalone document. Alright, 3. Your bulk petroleum plan to develop the management and plan with the composition joint force to be supported with the guided parameters of the planning effort. The contingency with its scenario of worldwide material distribution policy with the other guidance should be considered with determining specific theater requirement of the combat commander to develop and plan with the minimized type of fuels required for the joint operations. The following questions will add with the development of the Appendix 1 with the petroleum oil lubricating for the Annex D of logistics. Should the sub-area petroleum office the resupply bulk petroleum establish whatever the command of the operations of the petroleum support with the host nation support is available that whatever the compact responsibility petroleum support have the components provide estimate with the other bulk requirements have the arrangements have been made with the contract with the host nation support with the theater support contractor resource for the combat commander joint petroleum office defensive logistics agency energy have the bulk petroleum storage method the end sites been selected was for the threat level of the operational environment the security arrangements for the site has been established. Have the arrangements made with the Transportation Bulk Petroleum with the assigned theater Appendix A planning guidance for the Appendix 1 with the Annex D with the petroleum supply for the military plan to provide additional planning guidance. Alright, 4. Joint Bulk Petroleum Logistics Plan Consideration, IAW Department of Defense Instruction 4140-25 of the Department of Management Policies for the managing combined with the related service of the defense of the logistic agency acquires and stores the distribution bulk petroleum associated with the fuel added with all the DOD component for the customers where and whenever there is need with the crop of the fuel range for the operational situation with the goal provided with the appropriate fuel support every weapon with the defense of the logistic agency with coordinated with the Department of Defense component with these man for the operational constraints may imply with the petroleum support supply system with it must be the design and operation climate with the specific theater with the sum of the plan consideration of joint petroleum logistics listed in figure 3.3 and additional discussion selected for the consideration. Its mission, the mission and plan side with the composition of the joint force support with the guiding parameters of the planning effort, the contingency scenario, the worldwide material distribution policy for the other guidance was should be considered to determine specific theater requirements. Alright, your joint petroleum logistics, the joint petroleum logistics support the development and employing of the force to determine the services of the component of the combat command of the other organization within each service, which each uses such factors for the troop, the strength, the number, the type of the aircraft vehicles of the ship, the deployment times, the intensity of the duration, the agreement with the determine the time phase of the petroleum requirements. The plan should be included with the ship with the regenerated requirements, pre-positioned stock sources for resupply, accurate refuel requirement of forecasting, the critical of the support warfighters mission, including the consideration, acquisition, transport, storage, requisite, fuel added with the defense of the logistic agency, energy with the commercial specification, fuel and or plan, and use service headquarters should ensure the bulk petroleum requirement plan over the terrain with the increase for the accomplished for the task. The IMP developed annually with the Defense of the Logistic Agency, Energy with the coordinator with the Joint Staff Services for the Combat Command, the detail of the worldwide, the pre-position wartime reserve requirements and storage availability, location, pre-position, wartime reserve requirements are side with the resupply with the resourcing assumption with the include with the Department DOS factor for the developed and by the Joint Staff and Officer approved by the Office of Security Defense Global Petroleum Distribution Plan should be considered whenever planning petroleum logistics. Plan considerations, mission fuel requirement infrastructure, equipment that supports assumption command and control responsibility, quality, interoperability, fuel transportation system, sustainable survivability, theater specific factor for theater environment, limiting factors, and sea lifting other distribution methods. RD infrastructure, the capability of the commercial organic installation facility, the operational area that provide with the fuel and the storage of the distribution laboratories must be considered with the size, capability with the maintenance tasks of the offshore unloading facility, the terminal distribution base of the important with the logistic feasibility of the fuel plant collecting the information that can help determine the need for the method of employing with the tactical terminals, pipelines, hose lines, and the other fuel handling equipments. Alright, the equipment that ensure the petroleum handling distribution equipment available to support the operation of first fuel deployment package of the operational project is stock with identified with the considered review for the U.S. Air Force or for the fuel for the operational readiness capability equipment of force the U.S. Inland Petroleum Distribution System. IPDS is example of such equipment in addition with each service unit of the specific petroleum handling system should be linked to those systems identified with the movement plan and ensure the increased efficiency, standardized and operable equipment should be considered for the planning and execution. Support units timely arrive with the engineer units of the logistics civilian augmentation program, contract with the construction of the petroleum facilities, underwater construction team of the mission specialists, OPDS's setups and some of the diverse types of support for the units of the must be identified the type of the arrival the dates must dates for the unit not tied with the specific equipment system with the need of the various support roles also need to not identified. Also need to be identified, Inoperability fuel transfer system. The inoperability should be considered for the result of the planning process for the lease of the following interface with the tanker, oil, Navy, receiving the ship of the United States Coast Guard, receiving ship seaport load, offload facility with the joint lot system. Airbase fuel storage of the dispense system of the receive of the fuel for the commercial for the military for the fuel for the component of the multinational aircraft. 3 shore distribution system with the tactical fuel system equipment for the IPDS inland petroleum deployment system amphibious assault fuel system fuel tanker vehicles. No system and set system shall be planned to be utilized together without prior inoperability evaluation through the appropriate singles control point. Limiting factors. Most plans have some of the limiting factors: lack of the sufficient bulk petroleum storage for either inadequate transportation and assets to support the supply chain, inexperienced with the force structure, limited the fuel quantity, the non-existent for the commercial of the petroleum infrastructure for the operational area of the surface, has limited no adaptive injection capability. Any of these quality bring with the operational help, but must be explicitly identified with the planning documentation. Our supply chain responsible for the consideration. Consideration must be given the supply chain with the specifics specified such how weekly refineries and produce the product and how long it takes to deliver the product, how much sustainment can it be acquired with existing product inventories with the new additional contracting efforts and even the sustainment. They can see how the U.S. refinery contracting lines compare to the support rendering by the other nations agency. Our Defensive Science Board finding, the finding number 4 of the Defensive Science Board of February 2008, the task force found in the Department of Defense for the combat simulation exercise. Each military service emphasized mission execution with adequate fuel supply with the concept of the Defensive Science Board asserted with doing so with the Department of Defense left the Department of Defense unaware of the potential effect of the fuel efficiency of the combat operation and of vulnerability of fuel supply chain. Furthermore, no module efficient for the inefficient fuel uses. The Department of Defense could not analyze the fuel related with the logistic requirements as part of the acquisition process. Chapter 4: Executing Joint Bulk Petroleum Operations. Testing.